Hey there, it's Fabio. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Let's dive into the market updates. So EURUSD here on the daily time frame is at a low after breaking some structure over here. We can see that we have had a pretty overextended move all the way back down in towards around 1.05, where we have now found some form of support. Now, going into the 4-hour time frame, we can obviously see that the overall momentum is still heavily bearish in towards the downside. There is no sign absolutely of EURUSD showing any slowdown. Now, we currently have this 4-hour area of supply which is still open. If we just zoom in here, we can also very clearly see that we never made a connection with that area of 4-hour supply. Therefore, I now identify this high over here as my liquidity high. So what I would preferably want to see here on EURUSD is one more push back in towards that supply zone and then look to identify a short back down in towards the lows from that 4-hour area of supply. Now, what I am considering as well though, on the other hand, is that we have seen a 4-hour bearish change of character. This was your change of character high, this was the change of character low. So in theory, what you're now seeing is the push up, the pullback, the push up, and now a change of character in towards the downside after breaking this low which took out this high. Therefore, what you could consider is a short already in towards the downside. The only thing again is that we have not yet made a 4-hour connection. Going into the 1-hour time frame, what can we see over there? Well, what you can see here is that there has been a liquidity formed on the internal. We have two equal highs right over here, and we also have this as a liquidity high, or at least I consider this a liquidity high. Therefore, what you could also consider is looking for a short from this 1-hour area of supply which grabbed liquidity above this high over here. So if you're already interested in a short, you could look for a short from this 1-hour area of supply, identify the 15-minute change of character or the 1-hour change of character, and then look to enter a potential short position. Or if you want the highest probability play, then you wait for that higher zone over here. There is currently still no sign of any slowdown on EURUSD. No 4-hour like very heavy bullish change of characters, no real momentum. I would only really be interested in looking for those longs on EURUSD once again once we break this area of supply to potentially trade it back up higher in towards, for example, this overall area of supply. So going into the dollar index now, we can currently see that we are still bullish. If you were in the stream on Friday afternoon on the New York session, you can remember that I mentioned that we saw a liquidity sweep over here of this low, and we could then expect a reversal back in towards the highs. The 50% mark is always considered a strong area of support and resistance, and this is the 50% fib retracement level. These are my settings, and I use this as the premium versus discount tool. So what you consider with the premium versus discount theory is that the 50% mark will always act as an area of support and resistance, especially if you combine it with liquidity and with supply and demand. So obviously now I'm expecting some higher prices here on the dollar. We have to take into consideration that Joe Biden is now permitting Ukraine, or at least this is what's circulating on Twitter, but that Joe Biden is now permitting Ukraine to use US missiles and rockets against Russia inside of Russia. So this is bringing the conflict to a whole new level, which could cause some more let's say strength on the dollar, on gold, and on these other more risky assets or safe haven assets, excuse me. So that is it for the dollar. Just keep that in mind, waiting for it to move. It is Monday morning, so not expecting too much just yet. Obviously, we're expecting further upside movement as the overall structure here on the dollar index is still bullish. The daily is unchanged. This is your daily fractal low. This is now your daily fractal high. So this is your bullish range. So there is still potential definitely for a deeper pullback before heading up higher. But obviously, we could also just start pushing up higher as the overall fractal structure, once again on the 4-hour, but also on the daily, is just all bullish. So there is no reason to be looking for shorts on the dollar, and therefore no reason to be looking for longs on EURUSD, AUDUSD, NZDUSD, and GBPUSD. So that's the dollar index for you. Now moving into AUDUSD itself. What can we see from this pair? Well, still bearish, obviously. What I like about AUDUSD is that it's much more clear than EU at the moment. We can very clearly see that we have, this is the fractal low, this is the fractal high. I know the chart may seem a little bit messy, but this is your high and this is your low. So you're just inside this bearish leg over here, and we can see that we pretty much made a beautiful retracement in towards around that 618 fib retracement level. Now, this buy up for the sell is your area of supply. We come in towards that supply zone, and then we start selling off back in towards the downside. So we were we're looking for shorts, that is clear. Also looking at the daily, there is no clean area of demand, here to our left. Therefore, not looking for any longs, only until we reach a significant swing low would I consider looking at a potential longing opportunity. Go back down in towards the 4 hour, and then you can see, okay, we're inside supply. Go back down in towards the 1 hour. What do you want to see inside that 4 hour supply zone? You want to see a trend shift. So what did we see? We saw a trend shift because we saw a 1 hour change of character in towards the downside. So we saw this push up, pull back, push up, pull back, push up, and then we break structure in towards the downside with the change of character inside our 4 hour supply zone. We form what? We form supply here on the 1 hour time frame. So this is your 1 hour supply zone, and then you can see that you get the initial reaction, which is just purely a liquidity move, and then the real sell-off in towards the downside happens after grabbing that liquidity. Going towards the 15-minute time frame, what could you have seen? On the 15-minute time frame, we come back up. We see here the change of character high. This is the change of character low. This is your supply zone, and then obviously very clear, we sell off in towards the downside this morning, at around 6 a.m. So this was a very nice setup to be taken. You would have already nearly been around 3% in profit. So still expecting further downside from AUDUSD, and there's nothing really stopping it at this point in time. This is currently like your supply flow over here on the 1 hour time frame. So keep an eye open for 1 hour supply to continuously push the market down lower, and just follow, very simply said, the overall order flow down. I'm not interested in any longs whatsoever here on AUDUSD. Going into GBPUSD, what can we see over there? Pretty similar to AU, just pushing down lower and lower. Obviously, we saw a bullish reaction to this overall swing low, but it would be far stronger for us to reach this daily area of demand at around 1.26. So going into the weekly real quick, are we seeing anything interesting there? Yeah, so this daily area of demand that I just showed you is stacked with a weekly sell before a buy candle. Therefore, it is an extra strong area of demand. So I am keeping in mind that we could start seeing some GBPUSD bulls come into the market. Go down lower in towards the 4 hour. What can we see over there? So we can clearly see that this 4 hour imbalance candle here, so this supply zone, is in control. What we saw last week was that here on Thursday we came back up in towards this supply zone, liquidated this high over here, and then the real sell-off again in towards the downside occurred. So at this point in time, this is your fractal high, this is your fractal low. As long as this high is respected, obviously expecting further downside momentum. So I mean, again, it is very clear, guys, we're looking for shorts on GBPUSD, nothing else. Let's see. Yeah, so last night what happened is that we liquidated this high over here, and now we are starting to push down lower. This demand zone is currently stopping price from falling, but I do assume that once we break that, we should see some more momentum kick in. If we do push up higher, no problem at all, then we'll just look for shorts higher up in the supply zone, from example over here. So either shorts from here, or we look for shorts once we break this low on GBPUSD, because otherwise we could just continue with that 1 hour order flow further in towards the upside, right? Because at this point in time, again, this demand zone is in control, with this at the moment being your fractal low, which broke this fractal high. So let's see if the market will continue with the order flow up, and then we just wait for the 1 hour change of character, or we already wait for just this, simply this low to go, and then we look for those shorting opportunities. Go into NZDUSD. NZDUSD is very similar to AUDUSD. It is still bearish. There is still no sign of slowing down. I would not be surprised if we go for this low over here of 0.57735. So obviously, yeah, the momentum is just still, very simply said, in towards the downside. There is no sign of anything slowing down. What is currently your fractal high? Your fractal high is the high over here. This is your fractal low. It seems to be going for it very, very soon. Now, again, it may seem a little bit messy, my chart, but I promise you it is very straightforward. We go into towards the 1 hour time frame. So here, what do you see on the 1 hour time frame? Very simply said, here on the 1 hour, you see that we pretty much come back up in towards, there's no real refined 1 hour area of supply, I would say, but we're just generally speaking in the 4 hour supply zone. So this is your fractal high, and that gets broken by what? By this fractal low. So at this point in time, fractal high breaks this fractal low, which broke this fractal high over here. So very simply said, just push up, pull back, push up, boom, push down. This was the 1 hour fractal low. So at this point in time, fractal high, fractal low. Then what do we see? We see the pullback in towards the highs. Then what happens? So man, the price action was so clean this morning, guys. You see here, push up, pull down, push up, fractal low gets broken, then where do we retrace into? We retrace in towards this 1 hour imbalance candle, and then from there you sell off in towards the downside. And then what do you see? You see very clearly that we form liquidity just simply right below that supply zone, and then obviously you want to be entering on top of that. So a very clean entry possibility again already. Would have hit a 1 to 3 risk to reward. So some nice trades here already on the early London session. I was still sleeping, so sadly couldn't get into anything, but some very nice trades already, and now obviously just expecting further downside, as long as now the 1 hour order flow holds and sustains in towards the lows, right? So now this is your 1 hour supply zone, and that should push the market down lower. Last of all, gold, what do we expect from that? So yeah, keep in mind this is why gold has pushed last night, because obviously Biden gave Ukraine the permission to use its missiles in Russia, but it could be denied by the White House whatsoever today, and then you'll just see gold drop again, because currently what has been happening is that we've seen a 4 hour retracement in towards our 4 hour supply zone. Now from this 4 hour supply zone, we want to be looking for a potential shorting opportunity. So what would be nice? Well, it would be nice to see one more swipe again of the highs, grab liquidity, and then see, for example, the 1 hour change of character and get that pushed down again. So not looking for shorts just yet. Also not interested in longs, only interested in shorts, but for shorts we need to swipe the high and then get a retracement back down. So go back in towards the daily real quick here for you. What has happened on the daily? So on the daily, we still have this connection open with this daily area of demand. Yes, we have already swiped this liquidity low over here, so that could just fuel the next push definitely in towards this supply zone over here. But then if we want to trade in towards that supply zone, which is all the way up there, then we need to see some more bullish momentum. But for now, the bears are in control. So what we could see is just something like this, and then I'll be interested in getting in it on a short if we see that happen. So one more fake out on the highs after getting the initial reaction, because I know a lot of people are already selling from here on this bearish candle. So I would prefer to see one more push up and then get the sell. If we break this high, then I'll get interested in some longs once again. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic trading day. Leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, make sure to join the Discord server, link in the description down below.